Hello there, and welcome to my new show called Obscure Arcade Games. This is the very first episode, and in this show we're going to take a look at some of the more forgotten games of the past. Whether they are great or completely shit, they're all going to be in the arcade, they're going to cover all genres, and if you know any that would be interesting to do, definitely hit me up with a comment, it would be cool. So first up on my list is a fighting game released by Psikyo in 1994. And as far as I'm aware, this game stayed in the arcades. It never received a home port. That's usually the reason why nobody knows about these games, if they don't receive a home port. But that game is completely fair, as I'm pretty sure nobody would have bought it. Psikyo is a company more well known for its shooting franchises like Gunbird and Strikers 1945, and this game proves that they really should have stuck to those sort of games. This was their first attempt at a fighting game. They made another attempt in 1998, but today we're just focusing on Battle K Road. I have no idea if this game was ever released in arcades outside of Japan, and I can't find any information on the interwebs concerning this, so you'll just have to imagine with your heads. The game features such classic characters such as Sylvester Stallone and the Terminator. I'm serious, look at the portrait of this character. It's the Terminator! It's a good thing for Psikyo that this game is obscure, or they would have been sued right up the bumholy. Now apart from this, the characters are an average set of mundane fighters, just the boys and the girls, and I'm sure some of the others are probably based on famous people or actors or fighters as well, but I don't know who they are if they are. If you do know, tell me below. Now the game splits the characters into two pairs of two by their fighting style. The first person you fight is always the character of the same fighting style as you, and then you go in to fight in a multi-fighting style tournament. I'm not sure if K-Road is a real tournament, or if it is a completely fictional one. Those more knowledgeable than me will have to tell me. I did look it up, but I couldn't really find any information on it. It's a one-on-one versus fighter that claims to be realistic. So the way it does this is, if your character receives too much continuous damage or damage to a particular place repeatedly, he gets punched in the stomach and then punched in the head, they go downed. Now this doesn't actually have any effect on the gameplay, all it does is make you return to your starting positions. It's not like it's 3 down and then you're out like some other games, or if you're down twice they can tag you or whatever, it's just puts you back to your starting positions. So it's a completely arbitrary way of making the matches longer, and it's a completely pointless gimmick. The rest of the fighting in the game feels like a sort of King of Fighters low budget rip-off, but there aren't any crazy special moves, which is very boring. The graphics are the definition of average, and for 1994 they are quite bland considering some of the others at the time. There really is no flair to the game, as there isn't any flashy special moves. The characters themselves are forgettable, and backgrounds consist mostly of different rings and arenas. The music is aggravating to say the least, and seems to have only a few tracks which it repeats throughout the game. Something unforgivable is often my favourite thing about these old fighters is their funky tracks. You can tell it's an arcade game by the sharp increase in difficulty clearly aimed to make you think you're good at the game at first, and then eat all your money when you get to a level past the first one. It took me a long time to beat the second fighter, and this isn't a particularly complex game as much as it wants to be. Overall, my impressions of Battle K Road are that it's a forgettable fighter with a boring twist. If you ever see the arcade board for cheap and are thinking of picking it up, just save your money and buy something like a bright jumper. At least then you'll look groovy. So I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Obscure Arcade Games. Be sure to like, subscribe, share it, and give me recommendations for next time. Bye!